we go. Already, you are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Chicago Bears. And why are the Chicago Bears 0-16? Because they suck. Since 1964, they won one championship, one Super Bowl. Come on, Bears, you fucking suck. That's a bad team. That's a bad team. Oh, man. Welcome to anybody out there at all. It's going to spend any time with me here this evening. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away. Throw in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 to 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free. Fire away with the comments. But I mean, seriously, also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. Description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third one's called the Gridiron. Each membership level I got's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified, and it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? If you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe give this video a thumbs up or share this video. That would be freaking awesome. Finally, just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. I can't stand change. I'm too much of a moron to think, to adapt, or anything like that. The link on the... It's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me. It will always be Twitter. I'm one of them. Get off my lawn. Old-time farts, right? Get off my lawn. It's a Twitter link to me. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants me to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. I'm calling it Twitter. You know why? Because it's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff every day in my Twitter account. And then finally, the link on top of it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants. It's my Facebook group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. We have over 8,500 members in the group. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well, too. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. Boy, I tell you what, being an old time fart. One thing I love about YouTube, man, I tell you, it's unbelievable. It just sometimes it can just take you back. I'm just the game's not over with yet, but anyway, it's been over with for over 50 years. But when I'm watching the video of it, the game's not over, but it's actually the actual game, broadcast. Don Criqui was doing the New Orleans Saints games back then in the early 70s. He was doing, I don't know exactly what year he started, but he did the 1970 season because when Tom Dempsey kicked the 63-yard field goal, he was the one broadcasting that. So he was doing this game too. It was Archie Manning's first game, week 1 of the 1971 season. The Rams came to town and they were playing the Saints. And whoever on YouTube has the the actual TV broadcast of it. Basically, they cut out, like, basically what it was, they'd go back and they'd throw the pass or incompletely hand the ball off, or after the play was over with, they wouldn't have them where they walk back to the huddle and stuff. They just cut it right there, and then they went to the next play. So basically they got the whole second half and like the whole second half with commercials, and they even got commercials in there, but they don't have in between each play, but it's like 45 minutes long, and so I mean, it just takes me back, because at that time I was 7 years old, so it's just, it's man, I love watching some of that. I mean, obviously, there's some stuff with the Giants from 1970. They got the Giants' first ever the Monday Night Football game, and they lost 23-20 to the Eagles at Franklin Field. That, I'm like, it just takes you back. It's like, every time I watch it, of course, what's going to happen. The Giants are going to lose. They were winning 13-9 at halftime, but it's like, I'm just thinking, like, wow, I was 6 years old when that was going on. But this game here with the week 1, whatever it was, September, whatever it was, 18th or whatever the game was. Hold on here. Who's here? Just says week 1. Enhanced partial CBS broadcast. Archie Manning's first game. Rams at Saints week 1. So I don't know exactly what date it was. Obviously, I could look it up, but man, it just takes you back, boy. I tell you, nothing like those, to me anyway. Especially the early 70s. I mean, that's man, the original broadcast, and because like a lot of those guys. The Don Cricky, I believe, still around, but some of those other guys are like long gone. Some of those broadcasters and everything like that. I mean, the guys that I grew up with and everything. But I tell you, man, it just makes me feel like a kid again. If you really enjoy football, I mean, it's like if you're true, sometimes you just don't have the time or whatever. But it's like if you're a true hockey fan or a true basketball fan or whatever, you enjoy the sport, it was like with football, it's like, it's a Sunday night football game. And a lot of times, unfortunately, I'm busy doing this, or the Monday night game, I'm busy doing this. Thursday night game, guess what I'm doing? Busy doing this, so I don't always get a chance to watch, all of it. But I mean, if you're a true sport, a football, whatever, you watch any game. I mean, if the time that I do have at nighttime during the season, if I get time, I'll watch the game. I don't care who's playing. I don't care if it's the Bengals and the Falcons. I don't care. Don't matter to me. I'm watching it. What I mean? But that's the way it was back then. Especially back then, being it's not like you got the Sunday ticket where you can just watch any game. No. I mean, back then it was like, sometimes the Giants. The Giants played the Saints in 1970. We played them again in 72. Some of the teams you saw, but some of the teams you go a whole season, they just wouldn't be on, because for me, I was in Long Island, so you figure back then, it was, if the Giants didn't play them, if the Jets didn't play them, there was 26 teams. And a lot of times the 4:00 game or whatever, there was a doubleheader game. A lot of times it was like the Cowboys playing somebody or something like that. So actually, and then it was Monday Night Football. It just started in 1970. But, I know, like, you could go the whole 1970 season and like whatever. I mean, to be truthful now, a lot of the teams were on Monday Night Football. A lot of them, not all of them. But a lot of them were, because you figure, right? You figure there was 14 games. There was no bye weeks, but there was 14 games. So that's 28 teams, grand total. Well, some of the teams played twice, but so almost every team was on throughout the course of the season that I would get a chance to see. But might have been a team or so that I maybe, like during the 1970s, I didn't get a chance to see. Might have been the same thing to 71. I might have just didn't want to get a chance to say, because I know I wasn't allowed to stay up to watch Monday Night Football. So a lot of what I had to see was the afternoon games. And I might have gone a couple of years without seeing like whoever. Some of the teams. Like so when somebody came on, when teams like, whatever. It didn't matter. The Bears or somebody like that came on, I'd be like, oh, the Bears. It didn't matter if they stunk or not. I never saw them, because maybe I couldn't see them if they played Monday Night Football. I wasn't allowed to stay up late, because if I didn't get like 37 hours of sleep and time for me to go to school, I turned out to be a devil child or something like that. I don't know what my parents were thinking, but so I couldn't stay up late to watch Monday Night Football. So, it's sometimes, I said maybe like the Falcons would be on maybe one time the whole season long. Maybe I get a chance to see it. Maybe, what I mean? So it's not like it is nowadays, where you can literally see every game, and you can watch the all 22, so you can watch each play from 327 different angles and stuff. It wasn't like that back then. So that's so for me, sorry, but for me just to be able to see some of the teams, just in particular, was just like, because I wanted to see them all, because I had the football cards. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, wow, I got all these teams. Like, wow, look at this team. Oh, the Chargers, the Broncos. Wow, cool. The Oilers, the Bengals. Wow, my God, look at all these teams, and a lot of them just wouldn't be on TV. I wouldn't get a chance to see them. So. I mean, it's the way it is nowadays. It's pretty, it's really, really, really special. It certainly wasn't like that growing up. Anyway, it wasn't growing up like that for me. If you're like 20-something years old, because the Sunday ticket's been around since like the 90s. I got it in 2000. I got a really good season, obviously, because that's the season the Giants went to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl stunk, but the regular season was just unbelievable. So I got it in 2000. I've had it ever since. So this will be, I guess, my 25th season with it. Although this season and last season was with YouTube. But I mean, I've had 25 seasons of the Sunday ticket, so it's been fantastic. I mean, you get to watch. You can watch. I've had an opportunity to see every game. The past 25 years. I mean, how awesome is that? And then when you got the NFL channel, right, you can see all the preseason games, because you don't get a chance to see the games necessarily live, but they always have on like the NFL channel, right, every preseason game. You might have to watch whatever, the Falcons play the Chargers in a preseason game. You might have to see it, 7:00 in the morning, or you could tape it. But the opportunity's there. So nowadays you can see every preseason game and every regular season game. I mean, that's freaking awesome. It wasn't like that back then. When I was growing up. As I said, I could go like a whole season or so without seeing like the Chargers. They wouldn't be on TV. Or whoever, like the Saints or certain teams just maybe wouldn't be on my TV all season long. So it's really pretty cool nowadays. All right, so now I saw this. I tell you, well, it's they weren't bashing the Giants. So we got an NFL insider says the Giants should be in the mix for the division title. Wow, in 2024. Now we're talking, baby. Now we're talking. This is from Giants Wire. Who wrote this here? Tyler Henry. After an ugly and underwhelming 2023 campaign, expectations surrounding the Giants aren't very high entering the 2024 season. In a highly competitive division, many expect New York to finish last. However, one NFL insider believes the Giants could compete and ultimately need to compete for a division title if they hope to keep their current regime together. Nah, I don't need for the title. Need to? Nah. So if the Giants go, say they go 10-7, right? and the Eagles go, I guess, 12-5. I guess the Giants would be competing for the title. I guess if they lost out by a couple, but I don't think they need to go 10-7 for this regime to be. They need to get. Once again, you always have to put the context there, right? You always got to put, what happened. Okay, what I mean. It's just not like it's cut and dry, right? I mean, obviously, if they have a really good season, okay, all right, But I mean, if they win 7 games, what happened? They win 8 games. What if they only win 6 games? What happened? You got to put some context to it there. Did they lose every wide receiver? They're a 37 string quarterback. Did they lose all their offensive linemen? It was their edge rushers and Dexter Lawrence out for the whole season. You got to put some context to it. If they were relatively healthy and after the season's over with and everybody played their hearts out and all that stuff, and right, and we had the offensive line was all cohesion and they all played together and we only wanted to win 5 games. Yeah, we got a problem. We got ourselves a problem. Houston, we got a problem, right? So, I mean, obviously you got to play the season out and see what winds up happening. But I'm not so sure if they have to compete for the division title to keep Dable and Shane around. But we'll have to wait and see. But Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network told Locked On Giants podcast, I'm not saying the Giants are going to win a division, but they certainly should be in the mix. And as we get into December, you shouldn't be saying, well, it's a 2-team race that doesn't involve the Giants. Okay. All right, Mike. I got you, brother. Let's do it, brother. In a make-or-break 3rd year under Coach Brian Dable, no, it's not a make-or-break season for him. I really, really – the only way it would be a break season for him, the Giants won like 4 games or something like that. I mean, I said if everything, if the offensive line is relatively healthy, if our starting quarterback is relatively, injuries are minor, this, that, and the other thing, and we win like 4 or 5 games, we might have a problem here. But as what Maris has pointed out, it's tough to win titles, divisions, playoff games, Super Bowls, games, period. When every 2 years you got a new coach, maybe a new GM in there. It's tough. It's tough, right? I've said this before. If you go back to 2014, this is the first coach that's been here for a 3rd season. Okay. And how many Super Bowls have we won since 2014? How many playoff games have we won since 2014? Right? So, Coughlin was here for 2. McAdoo was here for 2. Sherman was here for 2. Judge was here for 2. Dable's been this for his 3rd season. Right? You can't every 2 years keep replacing your coach and expecting, hey, why are we in the Super Bowl? Because a lot of it, because they signed, they brought players in, signed them, blah 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 blah, all this stuff, and now you're gonna get rid of. I don't think get rid of Dable and Shane. I mean, then you're gonna bring in a new GM and a new coach, and they're gonna look at the roster like, we don't want any of these guys. We need to get rid of all these guys. So they start jettisoning all these players, start bringing in their own guys. By the way, all of a sudden, 2 years flies by, and this team's not in the Super Bowl. What are you going to do? Get rid of those guys? Bring in a new GM and a new coach and go to the roster and like, we don't want any of these guys. Let's get rid of them. They get rid of all. What's the meaning of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. Right? It took Parcells. It took Parcells second year to get to the playoffs, right? And then he was a consistent playoff, representative, right? The Giants were. But it took him 4 years to get to the Super Bowl, right? So, but I mean, I don't know if it's a make or break season. As I said, if the Giants only win like 4 or 5 games, what happened during the season? What happened? You got to add some context to it. All right. Giants lost big name free agents, Xavier McKinney, and obviously Saquon. And of course, Waller retired. However, the Giants got a major upgrade on defense by acquiring Brian Burns. Then we drafted Malik Nabers. The Giants' success, of course, depended heavily upon Daniel Jones, how plays in return from his injury. Does his injury, really hamper his running ability? Because it might take him he might say he's ready to go and all that. Oh, yeah. But is he going to be as good as he was in 2022 this season? Chances are probably not. His running ability, right? It might have to take until next season until he's, has his agility, mobility back to where it was before. Might even be better than it was before. We'll have to wait and see. But chances are his knee won't be as 100% what he'd like it to be, okay, as it was, back in 2022. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. How does the defense do under Shane Bowen? How does Devin Singletary fare as Barkley's replacement? Look, Devin Singletary has played games in the playoffs for the last 4 years, right? So he's a guy that you can win with and make the postseason with. So there's enough on the roster as you go through it to say this team should be in contention, Garofalo said. Although it may not look like it right now, the Giants could just surprise people in 2024, just as they did 2 years ago when Dable won AP Coach of the Year honors. So we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see. As I said, I really don't think that Mara wants to just start, getting, once again, when the season's over with, the Giants only win 4 or 5 games or something like that, I'd have a hard time believing. Sit back. What happened? Why? Was there a reason why? There was a reason why we only won 6 games last season. Some people, so there were some coaching questions and all that stuff and everything. But, a lot of it could be poor offensive line play, the injuries. We had a third-string quarterback in there. Our injured kicker missed a field goal against the Jets, which could have gave us another victory. Okay, so. But then again, you don't know, right? If we got that other victory, that would have gave us 7 victories. Quite possibly, we may not have drafted Malik Nabers. So, hey, things, sometimes things work out for different reasons. So we'll have to wait and see. But speaking of Malik Nabers, fantasy football, Malik Nabers is the Giants' highest-ranked player in PFF's PPR 400. Now, I don't do fantasy sports. I haven't done fantasy sports since the 1990s. So it's been like over 25 years since the last time I was in a fantasy league. So Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Nabers is the team's highest rated player in Pro Football Focus's PPR 400 for the upcoming 2024 NFL season. In a fantasy mock draft based on the PPR point per reception scoring system, analyst Nathan Jahnke listed the top 400 offensive players in ranked order. Nabers was ranked 42nd overall and number 22 among wide receivers. Running back Devin Singletary was ranked number 98 overall. He's the 31st rated at the running back position. Wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, number 171 overall. Daniel Jones got no overall, ranked 202. He was ranked 30th overall at his position. Others placed on the list: rookie Tyrone Tracy. Wow, was number 199 overall. Jalen Hyatt was number 212 overall. Darius Slayton was 217. Daniel Bellinger 250. Theo Johnson 301. Drew Lock, wow, 347. The Giants defense is 349, and kicker Graham Cano is 391. Running back Saquon Barkley was placed number 13th overall. Well, if he was on the Giants, he would be 13th. The only reason why he's number 13th is because they're good offensive line, and they got some really good weapons to help open stuff up for him. But if he was on the Giants, I'm sure he would be number 13 overall. So three newcomers, Nabers, Singletary, and Tracy were ranked relatively high considering the rookies have yet to play a live down in the NFL, and Singletary is on his third team in as many years. So, but I mean that just goes to show you that that Nabers got some love. And I'll tell you what, if once again you don't know, but if he can start, making some noise, I'm sure he's gonna jump up that list pretty quick. Next year he won't be ranked where he's at. I'm sure he'll be ranked quite a bit higher if he has a nice season here for the Giants. But as you can see, the Giants not getting much love. Oh, let's see here. Oh, where are we at here? I was saying Christian McCaffrey is number 1 overall. CeeDee Lamb is number 2 overall. Tyreek Hill is number 3. Jamar Chase is number 4. Justin Jefferson, number 5. Amon-Ra St. Brown, wow, is number 6. Bijan Robinson, jeez, wow, he's number 7. A.J. Brown of the Eagles, number 8. Breece Hall, number 9. Puka Nacua, get the out of here. He's number 10. Garrett Wilson, Kareem Williams, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Chris Olave, Travis Etienne, Isaiah Pacheco, yeah, Jalen Hurts. Hey, Jalen Hurts, number 20. Get the out of here. Yeah, I tell you what, sometimes you look at some of these and it's like, somebody, sucking an Eagles, Swanson. I mean, yeah, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, he's get the number 20. Get the out of here, dude. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So the Eagles have 3 of the top 20. Get the out of here. You got to be absolutely kidding me. 3 of the top 20. They could get out of here. It really is unbelievable. Some of these guys are just straight up sucking. Yeah. Sucking dick. It is absolutely amazing. And the Eagles, the Eagles are like just straight up tush pushing one another. It's like it really it's amazing how some of these they seem to favor one team or the other. It's just absolute trash. I mean, the team couldn't even win a football game. They were 10-1, and what they go 1-5, right? So it's 10. And then they lost. Then they lost the playoff game. So they finished. They out of the last 7 games, they lost 6 games. They lost 6, and somehow they have every one of the top highest rated offensive players are all Eagles, but they couldn't even win a football game last season. Get the out of here. That's an absolute joke. Absolute joke. But Nabers is the highest ranked Giant. So we'll have to wait and see. We will certainly have to wait and see. A lot of it's going to depend upon that offensive line. Can they stay healthy, right? How is Daniel Jones though? It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge. So all right, next, what do we got here? There's a lot of stuff to talk about here today. All right, next. This one, I'll tell you what. Some of these people got to pump the brakes. Let's see here. Who is this here? Could this undrafted free agent wide receiver be Giants' next Victor Cruz? Now, come on, man. Come on, man. Ed Valentine. Man, Ed, what are you smoking, Ed? Johnny Giles is coming from obscurity of Division II. Come on, Ed. The next Victor Cruz, yeah. Year after year, the New York Giants hoped that they could find the next Victor Cruz, an undrafted wide receiver who ends up turning into a star. Fans have become fascinated with players like Corey Washington, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Alex Bachman, Turner Overdrive, David Sills, Alonzo Russell, and Travis Rudolph. Could Johnny Giles, most recently out of West Florida, be the next young receiver to capture the imagination of the Giants fans? Hold on. Excuse me. Let's look a little deeper as we continue our player-by-player profiles of the the Giants' 90-man roster. So, you got a long way to go here if you going to start crowning somebody the next Victor Cruz. Yeah, I mean, let's see. So Johnny Giles, 6'3", 205 pounds, 23 years old, wide receiver, rookie contract, year one of a 3-year, $2.86 million undrafted free agent deal. All right. Giles has a winding path through college, 2 seasons at Fort Scott Community College, then a move to Virginia Union, where he skipped a season to focus on academics, and then played in 2022, then last season at West Florida, a Division II program. Let's see what we got here. It's 2024 outlook. Giles has some tools to work with, but faces a massive learning curve as he steps up in competition. Here is their scouting report from Lance Zierlein of NFL.com. Giles has arms like vines and showed off his ridiculous catch radius on more than one occasion during his college career. Despite playing against smaller foes, he has a lighter win rate on contested catches than he should, as he fails to bully and wall off opponents at the catch point. He's a sloppy route runner and lacks NFL long speed. So why are we thinking this guy might be the next Victor Cruz? I have no idea. Giles will need to become more aggressive and consistently competitive to prove he can win possession catches and rise to the challenge of much stiffer competition. Giles, who received $100,000 in guaranteed money to sign with the Giants, might be the kind of developmental player the Giants might stash on the practice squad to see if he turns into a useful NFL player. Well, we're going to have to wait and see on that one. I mean, you start talking about like comparing him like to Victor Cruz and stuff. I mean, especially if this guy does not have, we're talking, it said in the scouting report, doesn't have top NFL speed. I mean, that was one thing, Victor Cruz. I mean, you get Victor Cruz, he could go. So, I mean, Victor Cruz very, was good at those contested catches, so we start comparing people to Victor Cruz or whatever. But the Giants did see something in him. Undrafted free agent, gave him like a 3-year deal. Right? Same thing with Bryce Ford Wheaton. Undrafted free agent, they gave him a nice signing bonus. So we'll have to wait and see. Can they develop into something? We'll have to see. But the Giants do have pretty, in-depth the roster, the wide receiver. They got quite a few guys, which brings me to we'll go to the next one, okay, which kind of eliminates one of the wide receivers, although the depth is still there, because unfortunately, what happened with Chase Cota. Okay, let's see. There we go. So the Giants placed wide receiver on the injured reserve list, unfortunately, because sadly with Cota, and I hate, I certainly, I don't want nobody to get injured. And I certainly hate saying, like, okay, cool, it was just Chase Cota. Whew, thank goodness it wasn't Malik Nabers. You know what I mean? I hate saying it like that. I hate being like that because you don't want nobody getting injured. Even as much as I despise the Eagles, I don't want anybody on their roster getting injured. I don't want anybody on the Eagles getting an ingrown toenail. I want our best beating their best. The best of the best on the field, right? 60 minutes of football, and whoever has the most points on the scoreboard at the end of the game is the victor, okay? I don't want us to beat the Eagles because we're playing against their 37-string quarterback, or I don't want them beating us because we're depleted by injuries, not like that. But unfortunately, injuries happen to every team, okay? And unfortunately, it happened with Chase Cota. And I even brought this up. I think there's a good chance that he'll be gone because, if he broke something, right? The Giants, it was a long shot. He was going to make the team, much less the practice squad, right? So it was a good long shot. He was going to make the team. So So the Giants placed wide receiver Chase Cota on the reserved injured list as a corresponding move to the signing of free agent running back Jacob Sailors. So we got the 90 guys, right? So you bring him in, well, that means you got to get rid of somebody. So we brought in Sailors, but got rid of Cota, right? Cota suffered a broken collarbone during minicamp and was expected to miss the next 6 weeks. So, hey, the next 6 weeks. So let's put this in some kind of context, right? I mean, it's fluid. So I'm not exactly sure, right, if reserved injured list. So I'm not exactly sure if they can bring him back or not. But I mean, if you want to think about it with Cota, right? I mean, if you think about, because he broke it like last week. If he's missing 6 weeks, well, guess when they come back for training camp? 6 weeks. So there's a chance, by the end of whatever, say the beginning of August, he's ready to go. I mean, that could be easily, if it's fixed in 6 weeks. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure how that goes. I know some guys, they're going on like the injured list or something, or they're out for the season or whatever. But so there's a chance maybe he might want to be able to come back. Who knows? But the problem is, I mean, he still had to be a long shot to make this team. Long shot because we got so many wide receivers. So, but I mean, unfortunately, when you bring somebody in, you got to let somebody go. So obviously, the Giants signed Sailors after his standout season in UFL and after a workout with the team earlier in the offseason. After going undrafted in 2023 out of East Tennessee State, Sailors initially signed with the Cincinnati Bengals. He didn't make the active roster during the preseason and tried his luck in UFL. Well, worked out pretty well for him. With the St. Louis Battlehawks, Sailors was named to the All-UFL team after taking 94 carries for 461 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. So, unfortunately, that stuff happens, right? But there was also talking about Sailors, right? This next article is from Yardbarker, and it says, report veteran backfield signing is likely for the Giants. Now, we got so many running backs now. Sometimes I don't know exactly where they come up with this, but they're talking about possibly bringing back Breida. I'm fine with that, but like, why are we bringing in, why did we draft Tracy? And why do we got Sailors in there? We got 6 running backs now. I think we're gonna have 7. We're gonna bring Breida and bring 7 running backs. I mean, I don't know. Why? That's what I'm saying. We got Singletary. You drafted Gray. What are you gonna do with him? You just drafted him last year. We're just gonna throw him to the trash. You drafted him for a reason. You drafted Tyrone Tracy for a reason. Right? I mean, Tracy's not making it as a wide receiver. If he's going to make this roster, he's going to make it as a running back. So you're going to draft Tracy and put him on the practice squad? Yeah. You're going to draft Tracy and probably going to want to make it, quite possibly make the team. Same thing, quite possibly with Gray. I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. But you draft these guys for a reason. So, I mean, I'd be a little shocked if these guys don't, like I said, like Gray and Tracy don't want to make the team. You're 53. But I'm saying, how many running backs are you going to bring in? I mean, is Breida that much of a difference maker? Yeah. Could Breida be on my football team? Absolutely. Anytime, brother. I'm surprised, they didn't bring him back. I mean, actually, all the killer bees last season, they're all gone. Barkley, Breida, and Brightwell. Gone. All three. The killer bees. Bye-bye. So they didn't sign Barkley, but they brought in Singletary. They didn't sign Breida, and Brightwell's injured, so they let him go. So, I mean, in this article, I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about bringing him back, but this is from, as I said, Yard Barker. For the first time since 2018, the Giants' backfield will not contain Saquon Barkley. New York's 2023 fifth-rounder Eric Gray plays as a returnee. He saw a minor role on both offense and special teams as a rookie, and Singletary's presence makes it unlikely he will see a notable uptick in carries or receptions. But the thing is that, see, with Singletary, he's not your bell cow. So I'm not exactly sure where they're coming from here. Saquon, if healthy, at times was the bell cow, right? But a lot of times with Singletary, he's on the field for so many snaps, and then you send him off and you bring somebody in. So I can see with Singletary here, where Gray's, if he makes the 53, which is a decent assumption, especially once again, since he was drafted last season by this regime, right? They saw something in him. Okay. So I can see his carries or whatever may be going up a little bit this year. The Giants again took the draft route to add depth this year, selecting Tyrone Tracy in the fifth round. Given a lack of experience in the position amongst those and other options, Dan Dugan of the Athletic writers, a veteran backfield signing is likely between now and the opening of training camp. Several options fit the bill in that respect, and Matt Breida is among them. Dugan notes a reunion with the 29-year-old could meet the need for depth in the summer. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they wrote this article before or after we picked up Sailors. This might have been written before we got Sailors. This article here. Breida's played each of the past two seasons with the Giants. He averaged just 3.2 carries per game during that span while serving as Barkley's backup. And the Singletary Gray Tracy trio could limit his offensive role if he were to come back. If that does not come to fruition, the likes of Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt, Cam Akers, and Brandon Bolden could be on New York's radar as unsigned backs who will likely be affordable. I don't know. The Giants added Turbo Miller, right? And also, right, and the same thing, Jashawn Corbin, who is once again set to compete for a role during training camp. Veterans still on the market would represent far more experienced options to complement Singletary. Although special teams contributions will, of course, be highly valuable as well. And if you bring in like a Dalvin Cook, I mean, I'm not sure if you put him on special teams, right? A New York team which is set to host Jacob Sale. Oh, okay. Oh, it is. Okay. This article was written before that. Okay. So, yeah. So I think if they knew they brought Sailors in, they may not have written this article. So I don't really see, really don't see where they'd be bringing Breida in. I mean, it'd be nice, but I mean, how many running backs you going to need? And of course, then unfortunately, David Tyree, this winds up happening to a lot of guys. David Tyree, his helmet catch here. David Tyree blows nearly $500,000 after a failed juice store venture. And unfortunately, that winds up happening a lot. A lot of, unfortunately, a lot of guys have their money. They take their, and then they try. It's like, if I got some money, let me see if I can make some more money, if I can make a living out of this or whatever. And a lot of times things just don't always go for the better. And unfortunately, $500,000. I mean, all the good thing it's a learning lesson. It's a tax write-off, but unfortunately, that's a lot of guys wind up going broke because of bad business ventures. He should have passed on this deal. David Tyree said he plowed through nearly $500,000 in botched investment in a healthy juice franchise, which he bought into with exaggerated promises of big profits. That's what usually winds up happening. The former NFL wide receiver, who is famous for the 2008 championship winning helmet catch, was squeezed dry after sinking his money into clean juice, which was promoted by former football star Tim Tebow and included investors like MMA champ TJ Dillashaw. He told the Post in an exclusive interview. Tyree said the company promised good owners would make a mid-six-figure yearly store income. Right? So, hey, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, let's go. Give us $500,000, and you're going to make you should make $100,000 a year, maybe a little bit more. That's something you can live off of, right? Despite posting sales that were actually good for a clean juice franchise, as his location's revenue was almost always in the top 25% of stores. In the first year, my father-in-law, myself, and two sons were working for free. His wife told the Post, if we were near the top in sales, what's going on here? Yeah, well, wow. So that's not very good. The former All-Pro and his wife first learned about clean juice in 2019 when they traveled to North Carolina and were undergoing an annual juice cleanse ritual to detoxify their bodies. They had a great product, David Tyree told the Post. Feeling juiced about the health drink, Tyree arranged a meeting with company CEO and co-founder Landon Eccles. He quickly hit it off with the Tyrees, as he professed to be a devout Christian like them and said it was a faith-based chain. The dad of 7, who was working as the Giants' head of player development, was also looking for some extra income after the end of his playing days, during which his largest contract was the 5-year, $6.5 million deal with the G-Men. And at $6.5 million, between his agent and the taxes and all, he probably brought home probably, if he's lucky, maybe $3 million of that. Maybe, if he's lucky. Right? Let's see here. So Tyree decided to pay roughly $40,000 for a clean juice license and an additional $450,000 for equipment, including a $30,000 cold press machine, and open a location in Morristown, New Jersey. The NFL star said he hoped to make a tidy profit with Clean Press, as the company claimed in federal filings that a decent operator could make a $400,000 gross profit for one store. Soon, Clean Juice became more than secondary income, as the Giants in June 2020 declined to renew Tyree's contract as its director of player development. I didn't plan on being a full-time entrepreneur, Tyree told the Post. Tyree's on June 26, 2020, opened the location, as the Post reported at the time. The best-selling items were cold-pressed juices. They charged $70 for 6 16-ounce cold-pressed juices that were made in a house as part of a one-day cleanse, Tyree's wife said. $70 for 6 juices. Holy crap. People going through a juice cleanse almost exclusively drink fruit and vegetable juices for as long as their diets last. But things didn't go as planned. Shocking. He soon found that the store could only produce about $10,000 in profits annually. Oh, my God. Things got worse when company leaders forced franchisees to stop selling fresh pressed juice and instead sell juice that was already bottled off-site. After the first year, I was easily able to see I can't support my family, Tyree told the Post. Many of the other 120 clean juice locations were also struggling, sources said. To try and appease upset store owners, Eccles then had Tebow throw a Hail Mary. The former Heisman Trophy winner was the keynote speaker at Clean Juice's annual conference in August 2022. He told franchisees who were at the J1 Marriott in Charlotte to let their faith waver and that he went through struggles in his life and kept going, according to a Clean Juice franchise who was at the conference. He even gave out his inspirational book, Mission Possible. At the meeting, Clean Juice said that the change to bottles would reduce costs and boost sales since they could sell those juices for less. Yeah. Not everyone trusted Eccles, sources said, who in 2016 served 1 year of court-ordered probation for forging physician authorization when working as a district manager at a pharmaceutical company. This move did not boost sales. Juices had a shelf life of about 5 days when made in store, were replaced by juices that could be stored for 30 to 60 days and had less health benefits, though. The $30,000, wow, cold press machine franchise had bought were now essentially worthless. We discovered people hated the bottled juices, Mrs. Tyree said. Profits across the chain fell even further. Wow. There's a long article here. I've been in hard circumstances before, Tyree said, but this is uncomfortable. More than 50 of the clean juice operators, 1/3 of the chain by fall of 2023, formed a franchise association and hired attorney Leon Herzel to take legal action against the company. Meanwhile, the Eccles family on March 20th sold their 7-bedroom Cornelius, North Carolina home for $4.7 million, and on July 31st, 2023, an Irwin, Tennessee home for $1.29 million, according to the real estate websites. They also sold the clean juice chain in May to Bricks Holdings, owner of Friendly's and Red Mango. Landon Eccles' lawyer, Matthew D'Antonio from Bradley, Iran, said his client declined comment. Tebow did not return calls for comment either. So now whether he gets any of his money back, maybe he might wind up getting some of his money back. But I mean, unfortunately, a lot of this stuff just sadly winds up happening. And sadly, it winds up happening to a lot of the guys, like, as I've said, like a David Tyree. Now, that maybe was, he said, 5 years, like a $6.5 million deal. As I said, but between taxes and some money that his agent's going to get, he might only get like maybe $3 million of that or so. I mean, of course, that's a lot. It's just to a lot of people, that's a lot of money. But I mean, you can also blow right through that too if you're not, good with the money. And a lot of people aren't. Such as me. I'm not very good with money. I know what to do with money. I just don't do it. I have my own agenda for money. So anyway, but I mean, for somebody like a David Tyree to take $500,000 and just wind up, spending it on something like that, if it doesn't return, money. I mean, that's a huge huge loss for him, especially when they're talking about, you can make, in that article, he can make upwards of maybe $400,000 a year. Hey, sure, that's a great investment, absolutely, but when the BS hits the fan, so they have a lawyer out there, and hopefully hopefully he gets some money back. I'm sure he ain't going to get all of it back, but hopefully Tyree gets some of it back, and hopefully maybe he might be able to sign back with the Giants. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But wishing you nothing but the best, David. I mean, I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for this, baby, we might only have 3 Super Bowl rings. So wishing you nothing but the best, David. And then finally, I seen this one thing too. And of course, this is from Pro Football Network. Ranking the worst coaching hires in NFL history. Who were the worst head coaching hires in NFL history? Pro Football Network is counting down the top 10. Where do Nathaniel Hackett and Joe Judge rank? Now, they go back to the 70s. Okay, so basically, I guess they're going back to probably, around maybe the merger. They're not going back because there were some bad coaches, obviously, so they were going maybe back to the merger. All right, but this is written by Dallas Robinson. So, honestly, this guy Dallas Robinson. I mean, if he's the one that came up with this list, if he's the one who works for the Pro Football Network, if he's the one that came up with this list, they should just fire him on the spot. I mean, I'm not talking about Joe Judge being here. Maybe he's the number 6 overall one, the worst coach and hire of all time. Whatever. But if you don't got Bill Peterson on here, okay, the Houston Oilers, the only team in NFL history, back-to-back 1-win seasons, 72-73. Bill Peterson was 1-13 in 72. 73 started off 0-5. They fired him. He was 1-18. He was absolutely atrocious. A couple of years before that, when the Houston Oilers won the AFL, okay, they went to the playoffs. They got clobbered by the was it 68? I believe it might have been 68 or 69. They went to the playoffs. Might have been 69. Might have been 69. But so a couple of years before that, they were in the playoffs. Now, it wasn't a few years later, but when Bum Phillips took them to back-to-back championship games, the AFC championship games, they lost both of them to the Steelers. But they had some good players on that team. They were 1-13. And if they didn't upset the Jets 26-20, they would have been 0-14. But they started the season off 0-5 in 73. They got rid of him. So he was 1-18. He coached for 19 games. He was 1-18. Whatever. Who's this guy? This guy here. What his name is? Dallas Robinson. I mean, if he was the one that came up with this list, I mean, he even has honorable mentions on here. He has Jeff Saturday, Greg Schiano, Tampa Bay, 2012, Jim Zorn, Lane Kiffin, Rod Marinelli, Dave Campo, Lou Holtz of the Jets. Lou was pretty bad. But, I mean, if he has – these guys are – and he doesn't have Bill Peterson on here from the 72-73 Houston Oilers, dude, you should just give up your job right now. Okay, just go start selling Girl Scout cookies or something. I have no idea how you could possibly overlook Bill Peterson. You sir, suck. You were stupid. All right. So anyway, those are the they have honorable mentions, but then of course on this list they have the top, the top 10. Adam Gase, 2019 with the Jets. Freddie Kitchens, 2019 with the Browns. Richie Kotite, oh yeah, hard to argue with that. 1995 with the Jets. Matt Patricia, 2018 with the Lions. Hard to argue with that. Let's see here. Joe Judge, 2020. His hiring was in 2020 with the Giants. David Shula, 1992 with the Bengals. Hugh Jackson, 2016 with the Browns. Oh, my God. Jackson went 1-31 over his first 2 seasons in Cleveland. And his one victory came by just 3 points. Somehow Jackson was allowed to keep his job. I have no idea. No idea. Wow. Anyway, Bobby Petrino, 2007 with the Falcons, was the third. Nathaniel Hackett with the Broncos in 2022. And the worst one, Urban Meyer, Jacksonville Jaguars, 2021. Yeah, absolute worthless human piece of trash. Myers is. But, I don't know how he could possibly have without Bill Peters on here. Anyway, the thing is with, with Judge, it's the 6th overall, the worst one basically since the merger. I mean, the Giants started off, what the heck was it, 1-7. So in 2020, they were 1-7, and it was like, oh my God, this guy might be the worst coach of all time. Yeah. But then we went 5-3 with a backup quarterback. Remember Colt McCoy? We went into Seattle. Wayne Train Gallman, backup running back, backup quarterback. We went in, we won 17-12, I think it was, or something. And we finished 5-3 in the final 8 games. Right? Almost had a playoff spot. The Eagles didn't, Peterson didn't put in their 37th-string quarterback, pull out Hyatt. Jaylen, pull him out, right? Hurts. I mean, right? Not Hyatt, the wide receiver, Jalen Hurts. Pull him out, all right? Giants might have even made the playoffs that year, 6-10. Unbelievable as that would have been. Win a division with a record of 6-10. Wow. Anyway, but let's not forget that the Giants, they were 4-13. Their final, but I mean, they actually, where are we at here? 2021. They finished up. They went, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They went 1-7 of their final 8 games, right? And their one win was against the Eagles. But I mean, let's not forget, Daniel Jones was injured. Remember we had Jake from State Farm in there, right? He was a quarterback, right? And we had we had Mike Glennon. That was the -6-yard game against the Bears. I mean, we didn't even have, you want to look at it, we didn't even have like 3rd-string quarterbacks in there. I mean, we had like 37th-string quarterbacks in there. I mean, once again, no offensive weapons, atrocious line play, 38-string quarterbacks in there. What do you expect us to wind up doing, right? I mean, we were actually, we were like 3 and, what were we at the, we were 3-6. We beat the Raiders. Remember that? That was Xavier McKinney picked the pass off, ran it back for a touchdown, right? I think that was the winning margin against the Raiders. So we were actually 3-6 at one point. Okay, we were battling. Then of course, we got blown out by the Bucs. We beat the Eagles somehow. We got embarrassed by the Dolphins, embarrassed by the Chargers. But in the beginning, right, we lost to the Chiefs. Remember that game? It was a chance we could have beaten the Chiefs in Kansas City. Let's see here. We outplayed the Falcons. We let them hang around, and they wound up beating us. Was it young Chim Koo or whatever the dude was? Kicked the right. He kicked the Koo kicked the field goal as time ran out. The Giants were winning with 12 minutes to go in the game, 14-7, and we let the Falcons score 10 points in the final 10 minutes of the game or so. Actually, in the final 5 minutes of the game, we gave up 2 touchdowns. We gave up 2 scores to the Falcons. So the Giants outplayed them, but of course we wound up losing. But and that was also that was the season where Dexter Lawrence, he got flagged for being offside on that field goal kick against it was the Washington football team at the time. He was not offside. As the ball started moving, Dexter started moving. He was not offside. Okay, you'll never be able to convince me otherwise. He was not offside. That was a bad call by the ref. The Giants won that football game, right? The thing is that what really, I think, really hurt, Judge was, the fact that that was the last game, and it was when we lost to the Commanders, because we were actually just the last game of that season, we got embarrassed. I think that was the game where we had those two. It was deep in our own end zone, and we just had the quarterback keeper or whatever that was, two of them back to back, because he didn't want to run a play or throw a pass or something like that. So, that was just really, really embarrassing. And then, of course, after the game was over, somebody said, what do you think about the team's future? What do you think, however it went? Do you see any, what gives the fans hope for the future and stuff like that? And that's when Judge just went on for like a 10, 11-minute tyrant. He just should have said, because I think blah, 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 blah. Next question. If he just said that, his next question, he might have been the coach in the following season. But he went on and on and on. Open mouth, insert foot. And that's what he did. And that's one of the biggest reasons why he lost the job. Good reason why he lost the job. That tyrant, he went whatever it was. He went on and after the game was over. Right? It just kind of showed you that he was being overmatched as far as a coach and stuff like that and everything like that. The sixth worst coach of all since the merger. I don't know about that. A lot of that is these really bad coaches are newer ones. They're more fresh in our mind and all that and everything. Is Joe Judge a phenomenal coach? No, of course not. Look at, Bill Orange Parker we had, John McVay. Some of these guys weren't that good either. To say that he's the sixth worst coach basically since the merger, whatever, 55 years ago. I don't know about that. I think this guy's got to write it. His list is not that accurate. But if you're going back into the 70s and you're talking about the six coaches, worst hirings and coaches, whatever, since the merger in 1970, if you do not have even an honorable mention, if you don't have Bill Peterson on there from the 1972-73 Houston Oilers, dude, you should just, as I said, fire yourself and go sell Girl Scout cookies, because you have no idea what you're talking about. And it just really boggles my mind where some of these guys get their information from and how these guys get hired or from the information they know. It's just absolutely freaking mind-boggling. That was absolutely horrible. It was Joe Judge a bad coach? Yeah. Am I glad he's gone? Yeah. Right? But the sixth worst since 1970. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 8 minutes. Whoever spent any time, listen to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.